Oklahoma's home. It's every time I think about home, this is where it is. I just love the people, my friends, my family. I grew up in the Nazarene church my whole entire life. I was born into it, and that was life. I loved it. My church family was my first family, pretty much. My grandparents were amazing, but my mom was a single mom. My dad died when I was 4. I was always the nerd, the one that kind of blended in until somebody needed help with homework. My twin brother really started out that way. We used to compete in everything, and I mean everything. Who could read the most books, who could get home first after school. I mean, everything was competitive. My name is Thomas. I'm a graduate student at the University of Central Oklahoma. My concentration is in composition and rhetoric, and I also teach. I'm a TA. I teach composition 1 and 2. I was always different for so many different reasons. Poor, nerd, you know, the most inept person when it came to sports or anything like that. I would date occasionally, but I always got to the point in a relationship where I thought it was unfair because there's something that the person that I cared about deserved that I couldn't give them. There were some people that I'd confided to when I was around 13 at my church and told them, you know, I've been feeling this way. You know, I really don't know anything about it at all. I just didn't know anything about it, and they just said, oh no, that's normal, everybody feels that way, you just have to get over it. I mean, sometimes I would be upset and I would pray and say, you know, if it's wrong, which everybody seems to be saying it is, then just make it go away. You know, I mean, like, fix it if it's a problem, and it never did get fixed.
I started feeling like something might be a little off about myself, if you could call it that, when I was in the 6th grade. It was really confusing, and I tried to push it to the back of my head because I was just in the 6th grade, and I didn't really know what was going on with that, and I wasn't sure if it was just like hormones changing or, you know, something of that sort. And I wasn't sure if other people felt that way or not. My name's Haley, and I'm an art education major in my 2nd year at the University of Central Oklahoma. I really love art and photography. They give me an outlet so that I can get my feelings out, and whether I'm shooting landscapes or portraits or drawing, it's always just a really good thing to be able to let loose and be creative. I tried really hard to hide the fact that I was a little bit less than straight, and it was hard to deal with because I wasn't really sure like how to hide it and how to keep it from people and how to keep it from myself, because it's part of you that you can't really just push back for very long, because when you start doing that, it starts to get destructive and you start to think about it all the time, and it just like it gets to the point where you can't deal with hiding it anymore.
I've never really felt like I was exactly normal. I mean, I never really was like the typical kid growing up, I guess. It was just, I mean, I always just knew that I was kind of different from like some of my other classmates. I see things differently than a lot of people. My name is Xavier. I'm a student at the University of Central Oklahoma, and my major is journalism. I really find that journalism is a good way to educate people about the world that they live in. There's definitely been times where I've experienced discrimination because of my race and because of my sexual orientation. There was a time when I definitely felt it was a challenge, and I kind of took it to heart more than I probably should have, because I really thought it was, I never really thought that I had a problem. I could see that the issue was with them. I just didn't understand that sometimes you kind of just have to let people be people, and you can't let that affect who you are.
I come from a traditional family and a working class family. I didn't know what was wrong with me. Honestly, I knew that it was something to be ashamed of. I got that message pretty clear. My family, my father, my extended family, kids in the neighborhood, other adults in the neighborhood. I knew that I had to hide it. Otherwise I get beat up and made fun of all the time.
I'm Paula Sophia, a graduate from the Master of Fine Arts in Creative Writing program at the University of Central Oklahoma. I've been a police officer with the Oklahoma City Police Department for nearly 20 years, and I am a newly published author.
There was no ambiguous expectations of what I was supposed to be like as a kid. And it took me a while to try to come around to that. I was 9 or 10 years old, and I think one of the older kids in the neighborhood, he was in high school. I think he got tired of seeing me getting beat up, and he boxed, and he was a Golden Gloves boxer, and he had a little gym set up in his garage across the street from where I lived, and he started teaching me how to box. Sorry.
No, it's okay.
I could tell that he reached out to me because he'd been picked on a lot. He laced some gloves up on me, taught me how to hit the heavy bag and the speed bag and stuff, and then sparred with me. And after a couple of months, one summer, he said, "You know, you're ready." And I'm like, "Ready for what?" And I'm sorry, I can't believe this.
Okay.
He challenged the kid that was picking on me the most. His name was Tommy. Tommy and the other kids that had been bullying me in the neighborhood came over, and we had this boxing match in the backyard. I mean, you know, there was a couple of dozen kids there. It was, you know, quite a spectacle, and in some ways nightmarish to me. And Jeff kept telling me, "You're ready, you can fight this kid and you can put this away forever," you know. And I was so nervous, I was just frozen, and he punched me in the nose, and I fell to the ground and just started crying. When I was on the ground there, hiding my face in the boxing gloves, hearing everybody shouting at me, and Jeff said, "Get up, you can do this, you can do this." I just, you know, there's a fury in me that just came out, and I got up, and I looked at Tommy, and then I started fighting. I gave as good as I got, and at one point, he, either out of frustration or I hit him really hard, he started crying. So it was his turn, and it seemed like at that point when he started crying, some of the crowd started cheering for me. This moment transformed my life for decades, right here.
A friend of mine had passed away, and I went to visit her family, and they had a friend ask me to talk to him and help him. It was a little town in Texas, very conservative, very restrictive and everything, and his parents found out, or his father found out, that he was talking to someone that was gay, and just flew off the handle, and next thing I knew, I was getting the crud beat out of me. I was on the phone with my brother when it happened. We got disconnected. The police were called. They were horrible. Said they wished that there was an island they could send us all to so they didn't have to deal with us. My brother called my grandparents and my mom, told them that I was getting beat up because I was gay. I wasn't out to them before that. I don't know what the worst feeling was. I mean, it seems like when I was being hit, shock kind of made everything just numb. I didn't really feel it, but after knowing that had happened, and the fear that I've had my whole entire life of the people, my grandma that I love dearly, that if she was ever to disown me or not want to have anything to do with me, I don't know if I could handle it. The one person that was a family member by blood but was always there for me and always loved me and always had a higher standard for me than anybody else because she expected more out of me. I actually got home and my grandmother was alone in the kitchen, and she didn't say anything, and it was one of the most stressful times of my whole entire life, and I could tell she'd been crying. And I told her that I loved her, and that no matter what, I would always love her, and that the grandson that she loved was the grandson that I still was, because I've always been this way. And what she knows about me is what I am, and it shouldn't change anything. and I didn't know what to expect, but the only thing she told me is that the only reason she was upset is because she knew my life would be so much harder, knowing that I wanted to be a teacher, knowing that, you know, it's really conservative here and everything, and she's just, it broke her heart that I would have to go through more, you know, trials and stuff like that than anybody else just because of this one thing.
I tried really hard to hide the fact that I was a little bit less than straight. I had come out as bisexual to a few people. When I was 16, getting ready to turn 17 in my junior year of high school, I experienced something really bad with a guy that I'd known and thought was really charming for most of the time I knew him. I was at home one night and I invited him over just to like hang out and watch movies or something, but he ended up taking advantage of me and it was really difficult to deal with. And so after that, I went back to my family and I told them that I wasn't gay and everything like that, and I just like went right back into pretending to be someone who I wasn't. And I tried dating another guy or two after that happened, and I couldn't do it because everything felt really unnatural and awkward, and it wasn't right. I came out again, which was even harder than the first time because it's really difficult to tell someone you're gay, tell them you're not, and then go back and be like, I am, this is how it is, I'm finally just going to be who I am, and I'm not going to try to hide it anymore. It's a great thing that my family accepts me because I know so many people that have been kicked out of their houses and their parents don't talk to them anymore, and like things go horribly wrong, and I was extremely lucky to have a family that's accepting of me.
I was a police officer, she was a teacher. You know, had a son, had a daughter. Always in the back of my mind was this struggle, and you know, my wife knew about it. I told her early on that I had a gender identity conflict. I really didn't realize how over the years it would just wear on me. She asked me, you know, just because you have a gender identity conflict doesn't mean you can't be happy as a man, you know. And you know, she loved me and I loved her, and you know what, that seemed more important, and I thought, you know, I could do this. I really didn't realize how over the years it would just wear on me. I boxed myself in really well, where the cost of being honest was going to be too high, that potentially just admitting the truth was going to blow everything up. And pretty well I was right when I did finally tell the truth. But all at once I'm fighting to keep my job. My ministry was over, I knew that, but I was fighting to keep my faith. My marriage was over. It felt like for a little bit there that I didn't have a friend in the world. The first counselor I went to, she advised me, yeah, you need to consider, you know, at least learning how to express that part of myself, if not fully transitioning. And I remember getting angry at her and telling her she's full of crap, not so nice, and storming out of the place because I'd gone to her wanting to be cured. I had to get a second opinion, and so I went to a psychiatrist, and he affirmed it. He said that for my long-term mental health and stability that I ought to consider transitioning. In 2002, I went to Thailand, Bangkok, Thailand, with Dr. Preecha Tutranan, and had sexual reassignment surgery. It was quite a lonely experience being over there by myself. And I was there a month. I went through my surgery and came home. At first, I was a little bit freaked out, like, what have I done? But then over time, I feel whole. You know, one of the wonderful things is people were reaching out to me, and I started having a new circle of friends. My life became full of new people, and it was wonderfully rich, and still is in that sense. I'm more comfortable with myself now than I've ever been in my life.
The school that I went to, it was a great school. It was probably one of the best in the state, but it wasn't really racially diverse. So I didn't really have a lot of peers who were racially the same as I was. And I definitely didn't have any peers that were openly LGBT. So coming to college and seeing so many African American students and so many LGBT students being open and still being definitely accepted here at UCO, it was a great thing to see. I love the University of Central Oklahoma mainly because it's a place where you can totally reinvent yourself. Whatever you were before you came here, it kind of stops at the door. You can be whatever you want to be when you come here. I'm a member of SAFE, the Student Alliance for Equality. We are an LGBTQI, and there's an S in there for straight ally, group here on campus, and we try to encourage people to be open about who they are, and we're basically a support network for them here on campus, and we try to do programs and events that raises people awareness of different issues that the LGBT community faces. Not only issues dealing with LGBT, but issues dealing with all different kinds of discrimination and relationship issues. I feel like if people don't know about something, like an issue or something, like they don't know that it exists, then it's never gonna change or it's never gonna get better. My sexuality is part of me. It doesn't define me. It's part of who I am. I'm gay, I'm Black, and I'm a human being.
I started out at a conservative Christian university. It was a wonderful environment. However, after 2.5 years of being there and different things happening while I was there, I decided to come out. I was going through a really hard time with people around me that I really did care about, who were in positions of authority, saying things like, you know, we don't have an official policy about homosexuality here, but our unofficial policy is we'll make life hell until you leave. I just decided to transfer to UCO. It was one of the best decisions I ever made. I love this school. And it's so conducive and welcoming and open. Just a place, you know, where they make you feel like, come as you are, we'll accept you, you're safe here. And I wouldn't tell anybody when the time is right for them to come out, but I can say, no matter what the experience is, good or bad, nothing compares to the weight of that secret. Life is good, yeah, it does get better. And that's not saying it's perfect. No, nobody's life is perfect all the time. Everybody has their own issues and problems, but I wake up every morning and decide that it's going to be a good day. I'm the only one that can limit where I go and what I do.
I just started college. I didn't really have a whole lot of friends, and I wasn't sure how people were going to react and what the LGBT community was like on campus. It was really nice to know that there were more people that could relate to what I was going through that were on campus, and it was nice to have a place to meet with them where I didn't have to worry about being judged. I'm glad that I've become the person that I am, because it was really hard working through everything, but it all did get better, and that was the really good thing about it, was that as long as I got through it, things always went up. Don't be afraid to be who you are. You just need to live your life being the person that you know you are and not worry about what other people think all the time, and learn to love yourself, because once you love yourself, other people can love you more, and that's how it gets better.
I wrote a novel while I was in the Master of Fine Arts program called that is titled Shadowboxer, and it's a fictional story. Shadowboxer is about Willie Giles. He's a rookie police officer with Oklahoma City Police Department who is battling a gender identity conflict, and it's thought-provoking because a constant question I've been asked was, you know, so you thought you could, you know, you felt like you were female and everything, then why did you become a police officer? Why did you get married and have children? Why did you do that to your family? And without people having any appreciation for the enormous pressure that we have to live a certain way and conform to certain expectations. And Shadow Boxer, I think, touches on that. Don't expect coming out to solve all your problems. It doesn't solve all the problems of your life, but if you take it one day at a time and you keep your heart open to other people, then things will just start gelling around you and life will start feeling more stable and more normal, and you'll be able to discern the joys and triumphs. It does get better.
All of us here are members of SAFE, the Student Alliance for Equality. We are just some of more than 50 members that are a part of this organization here at the University of Central Oklahoma.
This student organization has been here since 1989 to help support and serve students and faculty at Central.
We are here to let you know that it does get better, and SAFE is here to help make it better.
My name is Brandon White. I am a student at the University of Central Oklahoma. I am president and a member of the Student Alliance for Equality, which stands for SAFE. We recently helped change the non-discrimination policy on campus to include both sexual orientation and gender identity. We're the first campus in Oklahoma to do so. And I think that just speaks leaps and bounds about the climate that we've created here on campus through our faculty and staff members, our students. It's truly, truly an inclusive and wonderful environment to learn.
My name is David Macy. I'm a professor and the chair of the English department here at UCO. I'm also the faculty advisor to the Student Alliance for Equality, SAFE. In addition to being the advisor to SAFE, I'm a gay man and a professional teacher. It's been a long, strange, and winding, sometimes bumpy road, but I finally come to feel at home here at Central. Experience has taught me that it does get better.
I'm Ashley Combs. I'm a member of the Association of Women's Studies and a senior sociology major here at the University of Central Oklahoma. Sexual and social equality isn't a privilege, but a right. To be able to live, learn, and love in a supportive community is essential to building a world with the same kind of attributes. UCO is one of the most diverse campuses I've seen. We celebrate the LGBT community, and we also celebrate cultures and ethnicities to celebrate and include everyone.
My name is Brittany President. I am a student at the University of Central Oklahoma. I am a member of SPB, which is the Student Programming Board. At UCO, we are all family that love and support one another. You can be who you are here with no judgment, because the only name you'll ever be called is Bronco, and that's why it gets better at UCO.
My name is Jenna Lutz, and I'm the Assistant Director of Fraternity and Sorority Life at the University of Central Oklahoma. I'm here to tell you that it doesn't matter your race, gender, or sexual orientation. Here at Central, we're an inclusive community. Our students, faculty, and staff are here for you because it really does get better.
I am Cole Stanley, Assistant Vice President for Student Affairs and Director of Student Life at the University of Central Oklahoma. In order for us to succeed as a campus community, a community of caring, we must encourage the dialogue to help everyone reach their full potential. I can't promise that it will always be easy, but I can promise that it will get better.
I'm Nishan, and this is Lindsay, and we're from the Office of Diversity and Inclusion at the University of Central Oklahoma. Winston Churchill said, "Success is not final, failure is not fatal. It's the courage to continue that counts." Know that at Central, you don't have to be courageous alone. The Office of Diversity and Inclusion, as well as other offices, departments, faculty, staff, and students are here to encourage you and support you.
Here at the Office of Diversity and Inclusion, we celebrate differences. I promise you, it gets better.
I'm Amanda Miller, and I'm an assistant professor of sociology at the University of Central Oklahoma. I know firsthand that it can be hard being different. People make fun of you for the things that you study, or the things that you like to do, or even just for being who you are. Here at the University of Central Oklahoma, we'll celebrate your differences. There's a place for everyone to fit in, and once you do find that niche, it gets better. In fact, it gets pretty great.
I'm Catherine Gage. I'm Vice President for Student Affairs at the University of Central Oklahoma. The other day, somebody asked me, what's exceptional about the University of Central Oklahoma? And I said, it's people. They're warm, they're genuine, they're welcoming. I've been at UCO for many years, and I find that one thing never changes. It's part of who we are, and it's part of our tradition.
We are the campus activities staff, along with Buddy, at the University of Central Oklahoma, and we're here to let you know that it gets better.
Whether you're gay, straight, bisexual, transgendered, or questioning, we're here to support you at Central.
Through programs, events, or even just a listening ear, feel free to use our resources.
It really does.
Get better. It gets better.